3.
Hurts.
2. No more complaining, Lewis. I think we're live.
Oh, yeah. Complain? I would never complain. Don't even know what it means.
Yeah, you should listen to the show sometime. You might learn. Oh my God! Look at those beautiful bits.
I load up the Cultimac Twitter account. The first thing I see is Irfan's sad and heartfelt goodbye to the magical Splash Mountain.
Man, you're trying to make me sad before we do this episode. I was getting all teary yesterday. Oh yeah, that's not even all of them. That's just some of them.
Oh really? What do you got in your hand there? Is that
live? Dude, that's my iPhone. So not only did I go to Splash Mountain like 8 different times, but I tried 3 different cameras to take video throughout the entire ride. I talked about this last week, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, but what is that one a GoPro on a stick or something?
I had a GoPro on a stick, which was a really great device for going on roller coasters and stuff because it has a little stick, it has a screen on the back and the front. Remember? I was saying this last week? I was like, it's perfect because you could flip it back and forth and you can see a screen on both sides to frame your picture. So that'd be a really cool feature for iPhone that they'll probably never add. But that was probably my favorite, although the low light performance on the GoPro not nearly as good as it is on the iPhone. I mean, the iPhone is like next level compared to GoPro. And then there was the Insta360 X3, which is their newest 360 camera, which is really cool and allows you to do some really unique stuff when you're filming video. Like for instance, you just record the video wherever you go. And then in the editing, you can actually frame the video however you want. So you can look in front of you, you can look behind you. It's pretty cool. But the thing about 360 cameras that I don't like is they kind of just look like crap. Like they don't look very good because they're splitting the fidelity between the front lens and the back lens. So instead of getting a 4K image like you do with an iPhone or a GoPro, you get like less than a 3K image for the front and the back. And so it just doesn't look as good. And
I thought 4K video was pointless.
Well, it does on your iPhone. Yeah. If you want to edit it into something, then it actually works. But yeah, if you're actually trying to watch it, good luck with that. Jay Cruz is here. He wants a very enthusiastic. Yeah. There you go, Jay. I don't want to hear nothing about it, Lewis. We got Torquil Dewar. Better late than never. What do you mean? We're right on time. We're actually 8 minutes early. Don't we normally go live at 12:30? So I think we waited long enough for people to pile in. Let's just go ahead and get things rolling because we got a lot of stories here. I don't know how we're going to get through all this in 30 minutes.
Perseverance.
We might go over 30 minutes this week.
It's never happened before.
Gonna need a tweet is what I'm gonna need.
Oh, you want the tweet action?
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
And by the way,
yeah,
I just want to say we forgot to do the clapping thing.
We did again.
Yeah.
Should we do it real fast?
I think so.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Man, talk about sausage.
That is pro.
You don't see Leo Laporte on his show doing that. That much is for sure. I think you hear John Gruber do it on his show every once in a while, but it's only to wake up his guest.
Oh! I got my recording running this week too, man. Totally feel like a pro.
Oh, good. That's great. We got John Tobin all the way from the UK. Let's see here. Should we all clap at home too? Yeah, please do. We'll make sure that all of our audio is in sync.
Please clap.
We're almost there, Lewis. We're almost there. All right, everyone. Let's see. I think we got everything going. You guys have your audio recordings going, right? I should have asked that. Yeah. God, we've been forgetting. I've been forgetting. We've been doing this show for like 11 years, and I can't believe that it's easy to get out of the habit of asking us to do like that kind of stuff. And then I go to edit the show, and I'm like, oh, how do I pair these audio tracks together? I have no idea. All right, well, let's see here. I think if you guys are ready to roll, I'll I will cue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. Did you hear I got to go on Splash Mountain? Mrs. D went down on those logs about 25 times. Oh, I had a log of my own with El Kitty.
I'm gonna start. I can't put my fingers in my ears during this.
You tried though. I saw that you had the headphones on. It wouldn't.
Rejected.
Look on your face. I should have cut back to your face just for that. I should put like your face in the lower corner. That's what I need to do is side cam. I'm going to have Lewis's face down in the corner, right under Mrs. D, so we can see Lewis's face as she does the intro. All right, let's see here. Mrs. D, you've made me nauseous. I don't want to hear any more stories about you and Mrs. D. Let's go ahead and get this show rolling, if you don't mind. Oh, man, my mixer is like way over here. And we got a lot of Apple news to talk about, so let's get this thing rolling. All right, in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Elias. Joining me today, he's been polishing his collection of horse crops in preparation to keep the Cult of Mac writers productive during next week's Apple announcements. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
It's going to be a big week. Lots of coffee's going to be drunk.
Oh, yeah. Some battery and assault, whatever has to happen there. Also with us, this will probably be the last time we get to see his eyes, as I hear he'll have the Apple headset permanently installed on his head later next week. It's going to be a little painful, but we're expecting a 200 to 300% increase in productivity. He's Cult of Mac's newest writer, Griffin Jones is here.
I hope that's prescription.
I think they would just be able to manipulate the image so that you don't even need glasses anymore. I can't imagine that you'd have to wear your glasses on top. Like, can't they build that in?
I've heard that it'll be available with prescription lenses.
The interchangeable ones.
Oh, man.
Which is just, like 3,000 plus.
Yeah.
An extra 500 because you're not properly sighted.
I was going to say, that's definitely not going to be free. That's going to be an additional feature for sure. You know what I'm excited to see next week is, well, just to see the headset. And I'm really curious to see just how many people actually care. We've been talking about this dang thing for 6 months, I would guess. And I always wince when we talk about it too long because I just don't think anyone frickin' cares at all. And I'm not in that boat, but I got my foot in that boat. I want to see what this thing is actually going to do. And I know TC's been talking about this in all the financial calls and how excited he is, and they've been working on AR, VR forever, and they're hoping that this is going to take over for iPhone, which that is a big sell. Taking over for iPhone. When Apple released the iPhone, people were clamoring for an Apple phone. It had been going on for, years. And just think back to the time of cell phones before Apple entered the chat. It was like, the WAP internet, it was Blackberries, it was Nokias, all these terrible, horrible phones with awful experiences. And then Apple comes in with this fresh new take, and it was like a revelation. Like, the phone should have always been this way. And people were ready for it. They were throwing their money at Apple before the phone ever even came out. And now you got the headset. No one's asking for a headset. No one cares about a headset. No one really thinks they need a headset. I was talking to my wife yesterday about Apple's plan for the headset. She doesn't really follow any of this stuff. And I told her that Apple was hoping to replace the iPhone with a headset. And the look on her face just kind of said it all. She was like, look at my face. She was like, like that. She's like, what? Like, she didn't even think I was being serious. And I was like, I'm serious. Apple thinks that they're going to replace the iPhone with a giant headset that you're going to wear on your face every day. And
well, the one common pattern is that the existing headset market, people don't really like them very much.
Yeah. Well, T41 in the chat. You don't know what you need until Apple shows you. Well, that much is true.
That's a good point.
And I would not be surprised in the least if we all were desperate to have one of these.
I've seen a lot of families living rooms with a headset sitting on them, and they're all just collecting dust on the entertainment center.
I've not run into anybody who owns one, or at least that will, admit to it. And when I talk to people about this thing, people are always like, oh, what do you do next? Well, I'm going to be a little bit busy because there's Apple event, and nobody seems to even know that this thing is coming. Like, normal people. But it's the biggest like what can they do moment, right? That's the big question is how are they going to sell this thing? And that's what I can't wait to see because I don't know if you saw today, Meta rushed out a press release saying, "Oh, we've got the Quest 3 coming," and you watch the video, and I swear to God, the one thing Apple can't do is let anybody be seen with one of these on their face, because it's just although there was like one image of this guy like, boxing the air or something, and that looked somewhat not embarrassing, but almost every video or ad I ever see for these things, I'm just like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's like, I don't know. People just don't look good with those things strapped on their heads.
No, they don't. They look goofy AF, as the kids like to say. But I don't know, man. I'm not counting Apple out. I'm hoping that they're going to surprise us and give us something that we all desperately want, even though we've been kind of making fun of it for months now. And then I say just kind of. I mean, like I said, I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. And I do think that whatever they offer, and we'll talk a little bit more about this here in a minute, like it's going to be unlike anything that exists. It's not going to be like the Meta. It's not going to be like any of the other headsets that exist. It's going to be a completely different, well thought out, hopefully has use cases device. So we don't have much longer to wait. Sorry, I'm on my phone. The reason I'm not trying to be rude, but I was at Disneyland.
Headset could replace that.
What's that?
Headset could replace that.
Yeah, this is gonna be the last time you ever see me on a phone. From next week going forward, I'm gonna be like a character in Tron. You want to know it's me? God, I'm looking for this picture. So I was at Disneyland, as some of you know, not this last weekend, but the one before, and I was getting off the Indiana Jones ride, and someone goes, "Erfan?" And I was like, "Huh?" I'm looking around. I don't recognize anyone. And it was a CultCast listener who had recognized me getting off the ride, Indiana Jones, someone who I've interacted with before, and he just happened to see me getting off the ride, and I was like, dude, did you hear the show? Did you know I was coming to Disneyland? He's like, oh no, I actually don't listen that often anymore. I was like, okay, cool.
Sucker punch, right?
So I slapped her right in the face and I moved on with my life. No, but I want to give a very happy shout out to listener Michael. I have a picture of us here, but I cannot find it. I should have pulled this up before the show. Who ID'd me coming off the ride, which it never happens to me. I think that happened to me once at Macworld, and I was so stunned. But this guy saw me coming off the ride. The guy at Macworld ID'd me off my voice alone. Like that guy needs to be working for like the CIA or something. That's a very special skill. Yeah, shoot, Michael, I can't find it, but I don't know if you want me showing your face to hundreds of thousands of people anyway.
The advanced search functions within the Photos app.
Yeah, but
I don't think he has this random stranger tagged with a face.
I was going to say, how would that work? Find a guy with brown eyebrows.
For you.
Well, that much is true.
You said it's the two of you, right?
It's just the two of us in front of Indiana Jones. But I have so many pictures.
Splash Mountain.
Sorry, I know this is bad audio. We should probably just move on. Dude, my phone's not going to know Splash Mountain. It's first of all, it's not Splash Mountain. It's Indiana Jones.
Oh, well, okay. Disneyland.
And, it's just some guy. I know.
Location.
I have all my Disneyland pictures here, but I'll keep looking, and maybe we can find it. Let's see here.
I guess we can cut this out in post, right?
Oh yeah, well, I'll definitely do that before we move on. Let me give a quick thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Look, you're a major slacker. You've been a slacker your whole life, and you're ready to improve your life. Everyone's been telling you to get your act together. Well, this is your opportunity. You're gonna take the chance. Is this your time to shine, Griffin? You can finally get your life together. And here's how you do it. You go to squarespace.com/cultcast and you put yourself out there. Build that website that highlights your skills. Build a website that will show prospective employers how talented you actually are. Or you can do what I do and you just start selling products online. Grow your business online. That's what I did. And the checks just keep coming in. It's been 7 years now. 8 years now, maybe, since I launched cultcloth.co on the Squarespace platform, and the thing just runs itself. The money just keeps pouring in every week, and this could be you. You could find a product to sell. You could create a members-only website, charge for memberships. If you have an actual skill set, that would be cool. I would love to know what that's like. Maybe I'll book some of your time. You could teach me. But you can have people book your calendar and charge them for that and teach them things. I mean, any kind of website that you want to have, you can have. It takes mere moments to build a website. It's so easy to do. You can customize absolutely everything, make the website look uniquely yours. and you'll be up and running in no time. Every device that visits will get a unique website built for that device, so everything will look beautiful no matter what device visits, even if it's a Samsung device. Believe it or not, even they will get a beautiful website. So if you're ready to take your life and your business to the next level, head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast. Get signed up. Start the trial. If you like what you have at the end of the trial, just build something. See how you like it. Use code CultCast at checkout. You'll get 10% off your first purchase with code CultCast at checkout at squarespace.com/cultcast. Thanks to Squarespace for supporting. They're one of our longest running sponsors. I don't even know how long it's been, like 6 years, 7 years, maybe. I don't even know, but they're making what we do possible. We appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Where are we going first? I'm completely lost already, which took 5 minutes longer than. Oh, right, here we go. Than it usually does. Everything we expect at WWDC. Look, I'm not going to go through all this stuff. We've already been talking about all this stuff for months and months and months. And I would say that this stuff, even though this is a great article, if you want a refresher, I'll link to it in the show notes. What to expect for iOS 17, iPad OS 17, Watch OS 10, Mac OS 14. I think Watch OS obviously is going to be probably the bigger one, which is the one I'm most excited about because I don't have my Apple Watch on. Dang. My Apple Watch Ultra is one of my all-time favorite devices that I've ever purchased from Apple. I absolutely love it. Every time I catch a glimpse of myself wearing it too, Lewis, I just think to myself, look at that absolute man. That thing is just a beast. It just, unlike the regular Apple Watch, this is way too shiny. It looks like a little piece of jewelry, little delicate piece of jewelry. With the Ultra, you look like you could actually beat someone with that thing. You're getting attacked, just whack him right in the face. That titanium, the shape, everything about it is just so much more masculine than the regular Apple Watch. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I guess you have like the regular Apple Watch, which is fine.
Yeah, I'm not too embarrassed by it. I think it's fine. I kind of like to have an Ultra. Didn't really see the reason to spend the money. We'll see. Maybe next time.
Aesthetic alone is enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the battery life.
It ain't that different.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to go with you on that one, but.
Well, I mean, you could get a little case that goes on it on your regular watch and makes it look like an Ultra.
You could do that if you don't want to go full man mode. If you want to go a little dainty case for your little girly watch, it's fine too. Let's see here.
I don't feel the need to project masculinity from my watch.
You don't? I do. It looks great when I have my arm hanging out my window of my truck with like a 17-inch lift. Actually, I used to have a truck just like that. I'm revealing too much about myself. Yeah, it was awesome. I had an old Chevy truck with bad brakes.
Perfect.
Death trap, yeah. But it looked cool. So the other thing I did want to mention is, and we'll talk more about this here in a sec, is the hardware stuff that we're expecting, which I don't know about all of you, but that's usually what I'm most excited about for WWDC is the hardware stuff. We're all but certainly going to get a 15-inch MacBook Air. And according to Gurman, there may be other Macs that are going to be revealed there, like possibly at least one more, possibly more than that, but it looks like maybe two. And then if you were unsure about the headset, I mean, here you go. This is Apple's tweet. A new era begins. Join us for WWDC 23 on June 5th at 10 a.m. That's Monday, by the way. Tap the heart button, and we'll send you a reminder on the event. And just look at that glowing liquid logo. A new era. The end of iPhone, some would say, on Monday. You'll never look at your iPhone the same way again. Huh. So we're definitely getting the headset. Gurman put out a little tweet action here about what he's expecting. 3 major focus areas next week. Several new Macs. Now, let me ask you this. You guys are both journalists, high-quality, top-tier tech journalists. Let me ask you this. Is several 2 or more, or is several 3 or more?
I think several refers to more than 2.
Really? What do you think?
I think so.
So I would assume 2.
Okay, because I always thought several meant at least 3.
That's what more than 2 is.
Oh, did you say? I thought you said 2 or more.
More than 2.
Okay, that's kind of an odd way to say that. So more than 2. because
more than two is the same as three or more. It's
I know,
exactly
but the way you phrase it, it's like more than two. It makes me think, oh, does that include two? But then I think about it, and
literally
no.
It's more than two. It's right.
But why
it's
wouldn't
right
you just say three or more? I think three or more is more succinct.
At least three.
So what is a couple? Love a Remix wants to know.
A couple is two.
That is two.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed for you that you even asked this.
Here's another question: how much is a handful?
Oh,
depends on how big
4.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. Who's is it?
I mean, I could only fit one Mac in my hand.
I think for a handful, it means at least 5.
That's what I was thinking.
Because
too.
you got 5 fingers.
But the thing is if you have Alex E. Heath's dainty girl hands, then it's probably only 2.
The handful is very inaccurate.
Yeah.
I wonder how many iPhones I can fit in my hand.
Well, how many iPhones do you have there?
Original iPhone.
Wow.
Look how little that thing is.
Yeah, can you hold up the original? That is
like
tiny, isn't it?
It looks like a Star Trek community.
iPhone 4.
Yeah, it does.
7 Plus.
C4 Runner wants to know how much is a buttload. And to that I would just say,
well, Jim, no comment.
I would just say, ask your mom.
Not the same as a boatload, that's for sure.
Well, depends how big the butt is.
I can scientifically confirm that a handful is
okay. My apologies.
6 iPhones.
Wow. Well, see, but those are 6 earlier generation iPhones because with the new iPhones, I think you're talking 2 or 3 Macs.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And if they are Macs, then maybe only 1.
Well, I have an iPod in here, so that's roughly equivalent in mass.
So
yeah, kind of.
So you're basically like the Tootsie Pop.
Owl.
What are those things called? Yeah, the owl. 1, 2, 3. It's 3. What are those things called? Tootsie Pop.
And they are called Tootsie Pops. Yeah.
Oh, that's the whole name of it. Tootsie Pop.
It's just a Tootsie Pop, yeah.
God, I can't. They even still make those things. It seems like.
Oh yeah, I love those.
There's no way. Really?
Yeah, yeah. Those are probably one of my favorite candies. That and Blow Pops. I think Blow Pops actually I like better because they taste better and they have gum in the middle instead of the Tootsie Roll. But
all right.
We're getting very far away from this.
I was gonna say we should save this for our snacks podcast that we're thinking about doing, Lewis.
You weren't kidding about the horsing around part.
Cult of Snack. It's right there.
Cult of Snacks.
It does have a nice ring to it, and it would probably do better than this podcast. Let's move on. Okay, so there you go. There are thoughts from the Germinator. There's Apple's tweets, and let me hand it off to you, Griffin, to talk about some of like the more in-depth hardware expectations that we got here, because there's been some new developments that may result in us getting some actual Macs that we weren't expecting at WWDC.
So Mark Gurman says we're expecting several Macs. What does that involve? Apparently, new high-end Macs with the M2 Max and Ultra chips. Apple could launch 2 new high-end desktop Macs at WWDC 23 this week, labeled internally as Mac 14,13 and Mac 14,14. Those are just the model names. Apple actually used to give them more descriptive model names like MacBook number, comma number, or Mac Pro number, comma number. But since Apple Silicon, they all switched to more vague generic names, so we just kind of have to speculate. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we can deduce what they are because they're powered by the M2 Max and M2 Ultra chips. They have the same. One of the models has the same 12-core CPU, 30-core GPU, 96 gigabytes of system memory that matches up with the M2 MacBook Pro. The only comparable machine Apple sells with that configuration is the Mac Studio. Similarly, there's a higher-end configuration that's shown up in testing with a 24-core CPU and 60-core GPU that matches what I believe is the most you can get on an M2 Max or Ultra, one of the two these days. But there is an even higher end configuration with a 76-core GPU and a 48-core GPU, which is apparently improved over what you can get now. So not only will the Mac Studio have all these faster cores, but it'll have much more cores than before. You'll be able to upgrade it as well to a higher ceiling of 192 gigabytes of memory. And all of these Macs have shown up as running macOS 13.4, which suggests that they could be ready for release before the next version of macOS hits this fall. So that kind of implies a summer or late summer release. With the increased CPU and GPU core count, the M2 Max and Ultra Max Studio should provide a double-digit boost in performance over its predecessor. I think that's an understatement. I think it could be sounds like the higher end configurations could be a very significant boost.
You mean for the Ultra?
Yeah, yeah.
I hope so, but I had the Ultra in the Mac Studio, and I ended up selling it because its performance was so disappointing. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I was expecting it to be double the M1 Max, right? Because it's two of those. And there was some kind of design flaw that was included in the Ultra. I forget exactly what it was, but Max Tech did a video about it ages ago because they kept doing benchmarks. And the Ultra performance was like usually between 20 to maybe 40% better than the M1 Max. And I'm like, dude, for the price that you pay, the additional money that you pay to Apple for that, it should be much better than that. And I'm hoping for the M2 Ultra, they dial out that design issue so that it actually performs at the scale that I feel like it should. I would consider buying another one if it actually performed the way that the cost would imply that it should. But
hopefully an updated Mac Studio will also fix like the weird like whistling problem with the fan where it causes that high pitched whirring noise.
I never
like
had that issue. Was that maybe that was for the M1 Max version? Because I know the M1 Ultra had a different fan system.
Apparently any Mac Studio is capable of it, but just like the tiny variance in like manufacturing size is enough to determine whether your Mac Studio whistles or not.
God, I don't
like
even
the basic
heard
Apple
this.
guy was blogging a lot about this. He did like a bunch of scientific testing. One of the solutions, he just covered like some of the back vents with duct tape, and that fixed it for a little bit.
Huh.
So that's why I don't buy first generation anything. I waited for the second generation Mac Mini on Apple Silicon, and I wouldn't buy a brand new computer. But
yeah,
anyways,
I mean,
if you were hoping,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to move on to the Mac Pro.
Yeah,
if
go
you're
ahead.
hoping this high-end Mac is the long-delayed Mac Pro, that's seemingly not the case. Apple has internally labeled the Apple Silicon Mac Pro as 14,8, whereas these rumors are for 14,13 and 14,14 as the model names. These new powerful Macs could then replace the M1 Max and ultra-powered Mac Studio, as we were discussing.
All right, well, then my question is this. If it's not going to be a MacBook Pro, obviously. It's not going to be a Mac Studio, probably. And if it's not going to be a Mac Pro, we're kind of running out of Macs here. Like, what is this second computer going to be? Is it going to be an iMac Pro? That would be wild if they released something like that. So I guess I don't know what to expect.
I just figured that the M1 Max and M1 Ultra would have different model names, but that might not be the case.
It'd both be Mac Studios, right?
In fact, let me double check if the existing ones do.
But wasn't Gurman saying that he was saying that they didn't want to release a Mac Studio with an M2 Ultra because it would just be way too powerful. Like, and if they did a Mac Pro, like no one would even bother buying it because the Mac Studio would be so crazy powerful. So they kind of like got to be careful on how much power they give to the Mac Studio because if it's too compelling, they're not going to have a use case for anything that's better.
I think that's why they delayed the Mac Pro, because they were originally, the plan for the Mac Pro was to have like the quad M1 Max chip, but if they weren't able to get that to a suitable degree of manufacturing quality, then they just axed the Mac Pro and let the Mac Studio take the high end of the reins. I did confirm on Mac Tracker, apparently the existing M1 Max and M1 Ultra Max Studios have different model numbers.
Okay.
So if there are two different rumored model numbers, Macs coming, they're probably both the two different variations of Mac Studio.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool if they released the Mac Studio. Now, let me ask you this. They released a Mac Studio with the M2 Ultra. Is that the death knell for the Mac Pro? I mean, this thing has not been updated in I don't even know how long. And it should have been updated like a year and a half ago. It's still not. And MKBHD on Twitter was saying if they don't release the new Mac Pro at WWDC this year, they're just not going to do it. Which I don't know what that means. Does that mean that the Mac Pro is dead? Like they're actually not going to create a Mac Pro anymore? Which I wouldn't be surprised because it's such a niche machine and it's been so problematic for so long. I mean, the last, 6 years, maybe even longer, 8 years, has just had so many different design problems. This new refresh was supposed to be the one that fixed all the problems, and now here we are. It's still not updated. It's still running Intel stuff. It's like, dude, this thing is cursed. Like, I wonder if they're like, let's just get rid of it. It's like when they got rid of, I don't know if you guys remember, Griffin, I don't know if you remember this. Like, they used to sell servers, like actual Mac servers, and they axed those at a certain point because they were just too niche. And I'm kind of thinking, like, with Mac Pro, we might be there. It might just be Mac Studio is as powerful as you get. What do you guys think about that?
Why would not releasing one this year mean that they're never going to release one?
I don't know what his logic was behind that. I guess because it's just been so long, it looks like they've just given up. And if they don't do it this year, if they don't do it at WWDC, I suppose they could just do it next year. But like, what is taking them so long? You know what I mean? Like, it's still on Intel.
They got other people working on something else.
I mean, the most major benefit of the Mac Pro isn't necessarily its performance, although that's certainly one of the benefits. How it could differentiate itself from Mac Studio is expandability, and that's not something that none of the Apple Silicon Macs up until this point have offered anything comparable of.
But the expandability has been vaporware. Like, how expandable is it really? You can add some super overpriced GPUs and Apple's Afterburner card and some memory modules and okay, maybe that's enough. But
there are a lot of third-party PCI cards you can slot into those too.
Into the Mac Pro, like there actually are third-party accessories you can put in there. Like, can you name me one off the top of your head?
Well, no, because I'm not a Mac Pro customer.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put you on the spot there. I was really just curious. Like, I wonder if there's anything useful that you can buy for the Mac Pro.
I remember hearing that I think like it's the computer you can buy if you just need like a crap ton of like USB ports. Like, you can just put in a bunch of PCI cards into that and just get a bunch of extra. Like, if you happen to have a use case for like having 37 USB ports on a single computer, or like in music production, or I don't know.
See, but that's what I mean. That is so incredibly niche. Like, who actually needs that kind of functionality? And for the price, especially considering, like, from a performance perspective, a Mac Studio now, even a MacBook Pro, can outperform the Mac Pro in so many different ways.
Well, that's what they got to get it right and release a one that's powered by Apple Silicon, and it's totally. I don't think it's that niche, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that use these still.
I have never. Now, look, this is anecdotal. I admit, I have never met anyone that's purchased a Mac Pro that doesn't make YouTube videos about Apple stuff. Like, there's probably like a professor out there that does like physics calculations and fluid dynamics and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Music producers.
All the music producers that I've ever seen use a laptop.
Editors.
You know? Maybe movie editors.
Yeah, I mean, have you gone to like big music studios, or are you talking to like,
I'm at music studios
Jimmy,
every
who
week.
does
Haven't you heard my rap album
once in a while? Huh?
You ever heard my rap albums? I'm deeply offended and hurt that you haven't even bothered. Yeah, I'm in the studio every week. Okay, working on lyrics, making new cuts.
Sure, yeah. Deep tracks.
Did the deepest of tracks, especially now that AI is doing it. I just let AI do it. I'm not even involved in it. I just write a prompt. Like, write me a new rap about, you put a topic in here. And speaking of which, dude, this is a total tangent, but I'm going to just mention it real fast. Heavens. Have you guys seen, you had to have seen the new generative AI stuff that Photoshop can do? Have you guys seen anything about this?
Oh, yeah.
The Firefly stuff?
They built it into Photoshop. There's a new beta of Photoshop out.
Right, Adobe Firefly in Photoshop.
Oh, is that, so they're calling the AI stuff Firefly, is that right?
Yeah.
And then they've weaved that. So I just tried it out on a whim just to see, because there was this picture of my friend and I in front of a statue at Disney World. Mm-hmm. And there were like all these really rude guests who were in the picture with us. Clearly they should have just known to not be in the picture.
Can you imagine?
Some imagine the nerve of these people? So I have done a lot of Photoshop work. I would describe myself as maybe not an advanced user, but below an advanced user, whatever that is. I'm there because I can prosumer level. I can get rid of stuff within a Photoshop image quite convincingly, but it can be laborious. You have to like artfully know how to remove pieces and extend features within the photo to make it look natural.
I sent you a link in our private Slack of an example of this.
Is this something that someone did? Okay, maybe I should.
Yeah, with Firefly.
Okay.
So
copy.
the second image is the original. It's the cover art for Taylor Swift's Evermore album. The first picture, it expands it like, I don't know, like 5 times as big, and it adds so many incredible details. It's like, if you're not familiar, it's like, the upper half of Taylor Swift from behind, and she's wearing like a plaid thing. It not only correctly draws her legs with like jeans and pants, it expands the wheat field. It even adds a Labrador Retriever to her left.
So when I originally opened this, I actually didn't know which image was supposed to be the AI one. So this is what I mean. So this is the original image. It's just a picture of Taylor Swift from the back. She has a ponytail. It's a square image. And then they use generative AI to extend the image outward, and the AI essentially is what comes up with all the other stuff that should go into the image. And in this full image, it's her standing in a field. You cannot tell that this is generative AI in any way. She's in a wheat field. There's a dog next to her. You can see her legs now. There's like this forest ahead of her. It looks like it's taking place in the fall. This is what I mean. So I tried this with that image.
Wow.
And with you just select the area and you hit generate, and boom, it automatically removed everything, and it extended the building where the people were blocking it and added in like I would say aesthetically appropriate lighting fixtures on the building.
Wow.
That's why this thing has been so viral, because it's not only accurate, but it provides imagery that is appropriately contextual to what is in the image as it is now, man. It's wild. It happens with a single click.
And it's trained, I believe, on Adobe's like preset library of images that they collect for their Creative Cloud service. So it's all filled with high quality images that it trains on.
Oh, interesting. So,
that is wild.
D4 Runner saying you can tell because Taylor Swift doesn't have lumberjack legs. Yeah, those legs, I mean, yeah, they do look like they might be Lewis Wallace's legs right there. They look like they're a little too muscular to belong to Taylor Swift.
If anything, I think the little like clumps at the top of the grass look a little large or something. They look a little freakish.
Yeah, I know you're an expert on grass clumps.
Well, I did grow up in Ohio. It kind of looks like she's in Ohio.
Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if anything's in the chat that people have been saying. Okay, yeah. Wesley Davenport's talking about my Superman forehead curl. Look, I tried to get rid of this before the show. It's not working, man. It's going straight down. Anything else? Okay, yeah. Let's move on. Let's see here. We don't have a giveaway, you said, this week, right, Lewis?
Yeah, let me just check. I think it's fallen through the cracks. All this WWDC stuff haven't had a chance.
That's okay, because
we've had too many Memorial Day sales. It's just been too crazy. Too crazy in the Cultimax store.
Well, before we move on then, I'm going to go ahead and give a thank you to HelloFresh for supporting this episode. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store, Lewis. I know you don't like to leave your house. And
I do like going to the grocery store, though. Sorry.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. This summer, HelloFresh is here to take the work out of eating well. Reach your goals with delicious, calorie smart, and protein smart. With delicious, calorie smart and protein smart lunch and dinner options, plus new vegan recipes. Get farm to table quality with every HelloFresh box. HelloFresh's seasonal ingredients are picked at the peak of ripeness. They have a peak meter they use. No, I'm not sure that's true, but they probably do. And travel from the farm to your doorstep in less than 7 days for fresh flavor in every bite. Figuring out what's for dinner is not at the top of anyone's summer activity wish list. Boy, isn't that true? HelloFresh delivers mouth-watering, chef-crafted recipes, and fresh ingredients to your door so you can spend your summer doing well, whatever it is you want to do, Lewis. How does that sound? Whatever you want, Lewis. It's up to you.
I tell you, the fact that you don't have to do all that food prep, that to me sounds like a dream.
Yeah, that is the part that I like the most too. So HelloFresh sent me a bunch of food to try out. It was delicious, really, really tasty, but definitely my favorite part, everything is pre-portioned. They send you instructions that are easy to follow. and you just do what it says on the card. And within a short amount of time, you got a delicious dinner there. You had to do zero work. Yes, Lewis.
It's not like the IKEA instructions, right? I mean, you can actually understand the instructions.
I would say they're much better than the IKEA instructions. First of all, they're full color, so that kind of helps. Good. You're not looking at gray blobs.
In English?
They're in English.
With actual words.
And the other thing that I like is it kind of teaches you how to cook stuff that maybe you have not cooked before, because they give you all the ingredients. All you have to do is just put it together as they've instructed you, and cook it, and you'll end up with a really delicious meal. Go to HelloFresh.com/CultCast16 and use code CultCast16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping.
Wow.
So there's absolutely no reason not to try it. Go to HelloFresh.com/CultCast16 and use code CultCast16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That is one heck of an offer right there. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. All right. Where are we going here next? I have no idea. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Lewis, do you want to talk a little bit more about the headset? There is one detail about the headset that I actually am quite excited about.
Really?
We've been
Just
talking
one?
about. Well, I mean, I'm sure once Apple's marketing material is released, it will be probably 101. But at this very moment, just reading this leak from Ross Young, I was like, wow, this is interesting, because the screens that are going to be included in the Apple headset are unlike anything that Apple's ever used, and it uses a cutting-edge technology that I'm actually quite excited about. I think it's the next generation of screen tech, and it looks like Apple's first foray into using the screen tech is going to be the headset.
Yeah, so the rumored specs of these micro OLED, right? Micro OLED panels that Apple plans to use its upcoming AR/VR headset indicate the device could deliver ultra-realistic clarity that makes virtual worlds look real.
I mean, that would
Do you hear
be pretty
that?
cool.
Virtual worlds that look real.
Yeah.
The headset, which I cannot wait till more than anything, I want to know the name of this thing. Are they going to call it the Reality Pro? Are they going to call it the Reality One? They're just going to call it Reality. What are they going to call it? Anyway, supposedly this thing is going to bring two 1.41-inch micro OLED screens with a pixel density of 4,000 PPI. This is coming from.
That's a whole lot of PPI.
Yeah, woo, baby. What's his name? Ross Young, right?
Ross Young, yeah.
From Display something. I can't remember the name of his company right off the top of my head. Anyway, high-resolution micro OLED displays sound like an important part of the equation of making this thing sound like, look better than anything out there, right? Two panels in the headset apparently going to offer perceived resolution greater than 4K per eye with a peak brightness, which this actually, I heard this and I felt kind of terrified. Peak brightness of 5,000 nits.
That's enough to make you go blind, honestly.
I mean, yeah. Like, how many people would be walking around with, burned out eyeballs?
You'll take this thing off, and you're going to have, a suntan around your eyes. It's going to be like reverse ski goggles. You know what I mean? You're going to actually have... I mean, you'll be blind, so it won't matter, but...
maybe this explains... remember that TV show C? Maybe that's how it happened.
Well, look, Streamline's saying he wants one so bad, but he can't justify spending $3K on it. He'll just wait for the Cultimac giveaway.
Right.
He's got a chance.
That's definitely the thing we're giving away.
You should make that pitch to LK, and I definitely want to be there when you do.
They're saying that this type of thing, which one of the things in our post about this was there's a guy that was at a display, tech conference, right?
Yeah.
Display oriented one, and he kind of zoomed in and showed you what it looks like looking through this thing, and it looked like pretty real. And the person, I can't remember what the tweet said, but it was like, "Oh, babe, it looks completely real. I'm dying. It's terrible. It's amazing." Supposedly, it's gonna be so bright, it's gonna make it super immersive, deep contrast, rich colors. Yeah. So also in our post, for comparison, okay, if the specs that we were just talking about, what was it? The 5,000 nits, right? The Apple Watch Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro can reach a peak brightness of 2,000 nits. So 2.5 times as bright. No other mixed headset reality currently uses such high-end micro OLED displays. Meta Quest 2, for example, achieves a brightness of around, listen to this, 100 nits.
Oh, it's like if you squint, you can...
Yeah, Sony PSVR 2 hits 265 nits. So, I mean, that just we've been talking about this forever, right? Super high-end hardware like nobody's ever seen. That's what they're going, and that's why they're going to charge $3,000. Okay, well, I mean, I hope
ultra premium.
I hope the big surprise they have is that the $3,000 was a red herring, and it's actually like somewhat affordable.
I'm kind of starting to think that maybe that is exactly what happened. Is they've just been leaking this 3,000. I mean, it would be genius marketing to price anchor us all at 3K, and all of us are just shaking our heads and we're like, yeah, no way, we're not spending 3K. And then they come in at $19.99.
I was just saying it's only $19.99.
And then it's like, oh shoot, $19.99. It's $1,000 off, you know.
And if you put it on your Apple Card, your monthly payment will only be $666.
Well, the thing about this headset, well, a couple things. If they're so the Apple designers there have been rumblings that they don't want to release this thing because it doesn't really have a use case. Mm-hmm. But I think the fact that it doesn't have a use case, I think only affirms how incredible the experience must be using it. Like they're going to be trying to sell this thing on the experience alone. It's going to be such a wow factor that even though it doesn't actually do anything, people are still going to want it. And these micro LED or micro OLED screens, the reason I think these are exciting is because this is next generation screen tech, as I've said. So OLED creates the best picture technology that exists today. All the individual pixels are individually illuminated, and they can turn on and off. They can control their own individual brightness. The color accuracy is just crazy. I can tell you, I have like one of the newer Sony televisions with QD OLED, and it has one of the most amazing pictures I've ever seen, period, in my entire life. The thing about micro OLED is it has all the strengths of OLED and more without any of the weaknesses being burn-in. So OLED, if you use it, the pixels can become burned in. They don't get as bright. The colors can be permanently fixed to the screen. They also don't get very bright. Plus, the colors tend to degrade over time, so the set won't look as good over time. But micro
LED.
The micro LED, thank you. I keep saying micro OLED, but that's not what I meant to say. The micro LED, it works in the same fashion in that all the individual pixels can be illuminated individually, but they can get much brighter, and there's no burn-in, and the colors don't degrade over time. So you get all the benefits of OLED and more without any of the weaknesses. And this is
it's missing the organic element, which is the O in OLED, so It doesn't get any burn-in. Every single pixel is its own individual tiny little cluster of 4 LEDs. It's like the platonic ideal of a display. Displays are almost a completely solved problem technologically.
So it's going to be cool to see what this actually looks like, because I don't think I've seen a commercial product that includes micro LED up until this point. It's just been like this experimental technology. I know Apple has been working on it. In fact, they have a whole like R&D team, I forget where they placed them, somewhere on the earth, working on just this thing. And I wonder if that effort is now going to be presented to all of us in the headset. So I know I keep repeating myself. I'm excited to see what this thing can actually do.
Did you watch that video of the guy at the display thing?
You mean peeping through the hole?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I played it a couple times. So there's a video of this guy, Brad Lynch, and he is, I don't know what he's looking through, but it's like some kind of like device where it has a hole with a 4K screen inside of it, and he's putting the camera up to it so you can see what it looks like inside. And the point being, like, if you put 2 of these over your eyeballs, then your eyeballs are going to be watering in joy.
Jeez. Yeah, it's pretty mesmerizing, I got to say. It doesn't look like some kind of cheap cheap thing. It's
not some cheap parlor
rich
trick. Yeah. It's not Samsung rolling out a headset here, Lewis. That's not what we're talking about here.
It's not a Viewmaster.
But again, even with all this wow, whiz bang stuff, what can it actually what is it going to do that you're actually going to want to do? Like, I kind of wonder if this is going to end up like an Oculus. Everyone that I know that has an Oculus buys it, uses it for 2 weeks, and then the only time they break it out is when people come to their house and they're like, "Hey, you want to see virtual reality?" and they put it on your head, and then they put it away, and they never actually use it themselves. So It's also going to have the same problem with people getting nauseous, which is another big thing with VR. So I just don't know, man. Yeah, what were you saying?
I just wonder if they'll, are they going to come up with some like killer game that everybody's got to play? Or are they going to, come up with some kind of augmented versions of Apple TV shows? Yeah, is there going to be something that we're all just going to go, oh, that's why they built this thing? Because I mean, the idea of like, oh, gee, my Zoom meeting can be more realistic. I don't know. I just can't, or my FaceTime call. I just don't quite understand how that's such a big appeal.
I bet we'll see more of those more advanced applications the second time they introduce the headset, because then it'll be in public, so they'll be able to easily have TV shows produced or enlist all these extra people in it without spoiling the secret that we all know is going to happen anyways.
I bet they'll have some killer screensaver tech inside like they do with the Apple TV, except it will be fully immersive so you can actually look around as you're flying through the air. Like I think virtual tourism is actually one of the cool things about these kinds of headsets. Like if someone were to go somewhere and film the pyramids in 8K, and then you could watch that and like look around while you have the headset on, like that would actually be a really cool use case for it. I think the movie stuff could be cool. Having it be having virtual screens in actual reality, I think that would be really cool for productivity. But aside from that, I really couldn't tell you, man. I think
virtual tours of apartments.
Yeah, sure. If you can find an apartment,
real estate across the country.
If you can find a house for sale, then maybe they could. Yeah, I think that would actually be really cool. Is to take you to a place and make you feel like you're there, and have it be super high quality. I think that could be pretty cool. Were you gonna say something? I feel like I cut someone off.
Oh yeah, like you mentioned the Apple screensavers. I can't provide a citation for this joke, but this was like weeks ago on Mastodon or something. Somebody said, "Man, you shouldn't put on the Apple Aerial TV screensavers at a party because people won't talk. They'll all just like stare at it like moths at a light." And that has been my lived experience as well.
True.
I cannot believe that. Someone said something on Mastodon?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, sorry, dude. That was too easy. Yeah, it's true. I mean, LK calls them mesmeric. I don't know if that's a real word or if he just made it up. But since I heard
those things.
Yeah, I do too. Like, and on the on the Sony QD OLED TVs, they look absolutely incredible. In fact, they look so good that Disney Plus now has shows that are just those screensavers, except they're long. They're like 20 minutes long, and they'll go through like multiple cities, or they'll go over the desert, and that's all it is. In fact, they have fictional versions of those screensavers now too. So they'll have they have a version of different scenes from Star Wars. So you'll be like flying over Planet Hoth, and it's just all the stuff happening in the planet, spaceships flying by, all the sound effects and everything. And that's literally all the show is, and it's 30 minutes long. It's actually pretty cool. If you have a really nice TV, it's cool content just to have on. But it does just make people sit and stare. It puts you into a trance, man. And then you'll come to 30 minutes later, you have like drool coming down your mouth, They've pre-programmed your brain to want to watch their next movie. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of subliminal messaging going on in there. I can't confirm or deny that. I hope they don't sue me. We're going to say something, Lewis?
They keep talking about this. Like one of the use cases for this might be meditation. And, this might be the ultimate like focus mode, right? Completely meditating. You're not, because my wife does this meditation thing with her iPad. And I walk through the room and she's sitting there and this guy with an Australian accent is like, "You are feeling sleepy," or something. I don't know what he's saying. But
does the guy have a shirt on? Does he have cufflinks and a bow tie on?
There's no actual person. No.
Oh, okay.
But every time I walk through there, I'm like, has she passed? Because she's sitting there like this, right? So that's like the one situation where if she had that
do you go
on,
like poker to make sure she's still
should I check for a pulse? Yeah, but that's like the one situation where it would actually make sense to have this thing on your head, right? It's like, sorry, I'm taking 15 minutes to focus on my meditation right now, and this has the external screen. Maybe it'll even just say like on the external screen. Who knows? There's all kinds of things that mask like that. Like, they keep talking about also fitness. Now, that to me seems weird because any kind of physical activity with the ski goggle on your head
sounds terrible,
inside a house sounds bizarre.
Sweating into your mask, that sounds truly terrible.
But, they do have like meditation and yoga things in Apple Fitness that, like yoga, maybe that makes sense with this. Maybe meditation makes sense with this thing. I mean, those are the things I think they're going to showcase, that kind of stuff, TVs, shows, and movies. But it's still a huge, huge, huge expense. If it's actually as expensive, it's like, man, I mean, you're going to have a lot of disposable money.
Yeah, if it's $3K and the rumors are true, Apple knows no one's going to buy this thing. It's gonna be one of the most niche products that they've ever had, and everyone who follows Apple and has a YouTube channel is gonna be the one buying these things. Maybe some businesses will. I'll tell you though, you missed an opportunity to have Midjourney create a new picture of TC wearing that headset. Those things are, those are like some of the best images on Cultamac, man. you should use nothing but those images going forward because they look so good. And it does such a good job, like putting the headset on his head in some kind of like cool locale. Okay, let's wrap up with a little bit of fun here. Griffin came up with a game. This is gonna be what are we calling this, Griffin? I don't even know. What did you call it?
I just called it WWDC 23 predictions.
Wow,
I can come up with a game.
That's a straightforward title.
And look at this. We got a whole list of things that might happen at WWDC, and we're gonna go on record with what we think will and will not make an appearance at WWDC. Well, there's a lot of these here. Holy moly!
We've been talking.
We can see who wins next week. I know, but
it's time to put down what we think is actually going to happen. Let's be accountable here to our audience. See what we think is really going to go on down.
What's the wager?
$1,000. The winner.
One headset.
The winner gets $1,000 from each other person on the show. Is that too little? Griffin? Should we up the stakes? 4,000, 5,000?
Let me.
How about a special?
Talk about a promotion.
Get a special sound effect on the show. Put something special.
He's waiting for the. He wants to see the results, and then we'll come up with the wager.
Yeah, he's working. He's working a hustle right now. I hope you know that. Okay. Should we just and Griffin, are you going to be keeping track of this as we go along here?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Take it away.
First round. iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, macOS, tvOS. What would normally be the contents of an entire WWDC are only the first section of this prediction table. That's how weird this event is going to be on Monday. So, rumors are iOS gets redesigned Control Center. This is one we've heard about, but I think unlike the other rumors from like Analyst 941 who came and went like the wind, we never saw pictures of this. So what do we think?
Okay, let's just go in order since it goes me, Lewis, Griffin. Mm-hmm. Let's just go in that order. So I'm going yes on that one. I think that's definitely happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Lewis? Okay.
I'm gonna put myself yes too. We've had the same Control Center for a long time.
Yep.
iOS supports alternative app stores. This is another thing that we've heard rumblings about. Do we think we will know by next Thursday whether this has happened or not?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is going to be a quiet yes. This is not going to be on stage with TC. When they bring out Woz wearing the Apple mixed reality headset, they're not going to talk about it, but definitely happening. Sadly, probably not in the U.S.
This week, no. Or
I'm also going to be a strong no here.
Okay, it looks like you guys are going to owe me $1,000 each, but that's fine.
iOS gets interactive widgets. This rumor comes around every year. It has never happened yet, but supposedly they're going to be. I don't know. I've heard that they're going to be doing something with widgets. We've heard that they're definitely going to be doing something related to widget-esque with watchOS. Do we think that's coming to iOS?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a sure thing.
Yes.
I am also going to put myself down as a no here.
Okay.
Oh.
I think I've heard the technical explanation that the if a developer wants to implement widgets, they have to do like this complicated procedure of like implementing the widget as in like they have to render the views of the widget in advance, and they present the operating system with like a timeline of what it'll show throughout the day, which is how widgets can kind of be like crappy and out of date when you look at them. And what if they do that? They do that to prevent the fact that they don't want to have to boot up, your app constantly throughout the day to save battery.
Well, what if Apple implements this just for first-party apps at first? I mean, they've already got that
possible.
going,
Then I would be wrong.
What if they just bring more of those? And it already works on the clock app icon.
That's true.
All right. We'll see about that.
iOS brings significant improvements to Stage Manager.
Okay, so I'm going to go no on this. I think they will bring improvements, but they're not going to be significant. I think Stage Manager it's locked in place, and it's not going to get much better.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to say no. Although I got to say, just the question itself, who defines what is significant?
I'm going to say we did a story, I think a week or two. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago because I did it on the CultCast, that they were going to be adding a clamshell mode so you can have an external display with your iPad still running closed. They were going to have, support for multiple different video streams, audio streams. I presume they're going to do something relating to audio streams since they just came out with like Final Cut and Logic on the iPad.
Okay, so what's your answer?
I'm going to say yes.
Oh, okay.
They seem to be going all in on this as like the next, big multitasking paradigm for the iPad. So I think they're going to actually keep a team together to keep working on this.
Yeah, I do too. I just don't know if it's going to be significant. And I think that we may end up getting into a semantics argument when they were like, hey, is this significant or not?
Right.
That's all right. Let's keep moving because we got a lot of these.
Okay. iPadOS gets the same lock screen customization as iOS.
I mean, I do think this is coming. Is it coming to iPadOS? My answer is yes. Boom. It's happening.
And no. I don't have a real reason for that, but
it's just my gut. It's my instinct.
Well, there's a pattern for this. Like the app library came to iOS first and the iPad late next year. And I think there was another example from the year before that. So I'm going to put myself as yes.
Okay. See? Now
watchOS
Greg's decision.
is reimagined with smaller widget-like apps.
Oh, it's definitely happening this year. This is our year, guys. I hope you all are ready for some custom watch faces. By the way, we did talk about that one app last week. What was it called?
Facer.
I tried it out. Not quite as cool as I was hoping it was. I mean, you got to pay, and it's not cheap. And not only that,
pay for something.
But I was looking through all the different watch faces, and I was like, 98% of these are absolute turds. So it was disappointing. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So did we skip watchOS is reimagined with smaller widget-like apps?
Yeah, that was the one
that was the question?
Yeah, Airphone just went on an Airphone thing.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing. I was looking at the wrong one.
Didn't even listen to the question. Just answers.
What'd you say? No, I'm just joking. Okay.
watchOS is reimagined with smaller widget-like apps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm put myself as yes too. watchOS gets custom watch faces.
Got ahead of myself here. Obviously, I'm a yes. This is our year.
Of course not. No,
absolutely not.
It's happening. You guys are wrong.
They could have done it years ago, and they would have done it by now.
Could have, would have, should have. Hey, remember when Steve Jobs said that they'll never use a stylus, and then they released the Apple Pencil? It's our year this year. It's happening.
Okay, the Apple Pencil is the primary input device. You still use your finger.
I mean, it is if you're an artist.
Oh my God, Griffin! I think we need a new subheading here. You just, you go from iOS and iPadOS, and then suddenly we're in hardware.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, I can split that up.
That's fine.
A 15-inch MacBook Air is announced with near identical specs to the current model.
Well, I like that you added on that extra exposition there. Yeah, I think it's going to be exactly the same. It's just going to just be bigger.
Well, sometimes I can imagine a possibility where they announce the 50-inch MacBook Air and it starts at a higher configuration, like it doesn't come with like the 8 gigs of RAM and it starts at 16.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
That would be near identical or not?
Would we consider that? What's that?
Would we consider that near identical?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I should have just said it'll have an M2 and not an M3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think we're all yeses on there. Updated Mac Studio with M2 Max and M2 Ultra. We just talked about this.
I'm gonna go no. I don't think it's happening.
Really?
No, I don't.
Yes,
think so.
I'm going yes. I think that's a pretty strong rumor based on observable information.
I mean, I think that these are mutually exclusive. I think we're either going to get a Mac Pro which is the next one, or we're going to get a Mac Studio. I still think that Apple has a Mac Pro up their sleeve, and I think that's going to be the second one.
I'm also going to go no.
Really?
I think if they're going to drop it, they wouldn't waste keynote time on this when it's basically just an update to the existing one. The updated MacBook Pro was just a press release drop.
That's right.
Okay, new Mac Pro is teased.
Yes.
You mean just like a mention of it? And hey, we're working on it.
Either just a mention by a presenter on stage or like a little teaser trailer.
I think it's gonna. I think it's probably gonna be more than teased. But
like, is it mentioned at all? Yeah. Okay. So you're yes. I'll go yes.
I'm gonna go no. I don't think they're ready for it. I think they're gonna wait for the M3. Okay, this is my favorite. tvOS gets more than 20 seconds of attention.
You gotta have your stopwatch ready.
God, I'm gonna go no because what can they do with tvOS? tvOS is done, man. I mean, unless they completely reimagine the entire thing, the apps are pointless. It just is another way to watch streaming content with a more beautiful interface. I mean, that's what it is. I don't think they're gonna give it much attention. Apple Arcade could eventually get more time in the tvOS space, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So yeah, it's gonna get a mention. It'll have one minor feature. They're going to add some new sports, and then they're going to move on.
I would say no, but then what if they do something with that makes it super awesome with the headset?
Mm.
I'm gonna say yes. More than 20 seconds.
I'm gonna say no because it's the TV. If they don't have time for this.
They're gonna have some kind of awesome new interface. It's like
I love my Apple TV, but like, what are you doing if they're talking about the tvOS at the headset day? You know
what new feature I would love? What new feature it would actually make my entire WWDC if they said, and now the 4K Apple TV can stream 4K videos from your iCloud photo library. That would be mind blowing. And people would be like, what? It doesn't do that? They wouldn't even know that the whole 4K thing on your iPhone is one big giant TC scam.
That would be great, but it would probably just be on the website and not in the keynote.
Yeah, true enough.
Okay, Apple headset. Apple announces a headset called Reality Pro.
I don't think it's going to be called that, so I'm going to go no.
Also, no. I don't see how they released the very first one and call it a Pro.
I'm going to say yes, because I think even though there's no non-pro reality headset yet, I think they want that in the name just so the audience knows this is an expensive product, before they even have to be shocked at the price.
I'm just not convinced they're going to call it reality. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to move on to the next one. The 3 core features. Apple always introduces a new product. We're like talking about the 3 core features. The 3 core features are FaceTime, productivity, and fitness, not gaming. I think if they talk about gaming, it'll be like, oh yes, and the Apple Reality headset runs all the iPad apps, and that includes some games. But I don't think the games are going to be a central feature.
I'm going to go no because I think it's going to be entertainment, productivity, and fitness. And I think that FaceTime is going to slot into one of those 3 categories, obviously not fitness. But they're not going to do FaceTime as a main selling point. It's going to be entertainment because that's going to be one of the big tent poles for why you should buy this thing, right? Like having these 2 beautiful displays right on your face for Apple TV Plus content. It's going to look incredible. You can have TC in your living room doing the keynote right there with you. They're going to add breathe-o-visions. You can have his breath, felt on your neck. It's going to have all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm going no.
Lewis?
Yeah, also no.
Ooh. Well, this is my speculation, so I put yes.
Okay.
Only one color option.
I mean, that's obvious. That's going to be an obvious yes.
Yes.
Yes. An external display shows 2 cartoon eyes to indicate you're in AR mode. We've heard this repeatedly, and I'm just going to jump the gun and say, even though we've heard this repeatedly, I don't understand how this could not look foolish. So I'm a no.
I'm going no. As much as I want this to be a yes, with 2 giant eyeballs with fake eyelashes, I'm gonna go no on that. And plus, it's like, dude, out of all the money that they're gonna have to spend to build this thing, what would be the purpose of putting eyeballs on the outside? It's just unnecessary expense. It's like the first feature I would cut, out of all the features that were on this product.
Can they be Memoji eyes?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going yes then.
We know for sure Lewis got at least one wrong.
I'm probably punching myself by saying no because we've heard it repeatedly, but I don't know. My capacity to imagine that being good is just not there.
I just don't know what the point would be. Like, what is the point?
So they know
Privacy.
if you're in AR mode or VR mode. I don't know.
All right.
Someone says metaverse.
Absolutely not. They will not utter that word. Metaverse is already dead. It is DOA. It was never a thing. It's not going to be a thing. And Apple does not want to tie this device to it.
No, absolutely not. If someone does say it, they will no longer be working at Apple by the end of the week.
By the end of the keynote, they'll be fired. All this stuff will be on the curb.
I'm also a no. The headset is given a price of $29.99.
I'm going to go with yes on this. I think that it is going to actually be $3,000.
Oh, God. I would say no. I think it's got to be lower than that. It's too much.
I'm going to say no because I don't think they're going to tell us the price yet.
Oh. Bold.
If you remember the Apple Watch, they said, oh, it starts at $330, but then they didn't actually say what the full spread was. I don't even think they're going to mention a price this time.
I feel like they got to mention a price on a new product like this, but we'll see.
We have some miscellaneous picks here. The event runs over 2 hours. Apple has never had a 2-hour virtual keynote.
So I know that people have been saying that the event is probably going to run long, but on Apple's own page for this event, they say it's going to be 2 hours. So I think it's going to be 2 hours or less. All the hope that it's going to be longer, I think it's just hope. I think they're going to actually keep it at 2 hours because it starts at 10. If they go past 12, they're running into people's lunch. I don't think they're going to want to keep people over lunch.
Shaky.
Yeah.
Starving. Yeah, I agree. That's why it's all virtual, right? They can edit it out. That's why we got all these things by press release.
Yep.
I'm also going to say no. I was kind of flip-flopping, but you convinced me. Tim Cook appears live on stage to introduce the event.
Now, this is a tough one because this is arguably TC's... There's no product that TC has worked on that has had more significance than this one. But TC is also, I think, very... He would be okay with passing on the visibility to other members of his team because I think he wants to be on stage less and less because eventually he is going to retire. So for that reason, even though this is going to be a major initiative under his watch, I think that he probably, appears on stage to introduce the event. I'm going to go with yes. I might regret that decision. I'm going to go with this. He's going to introduce it. He's going to hand it off, and then it's going to be his team from that point forward. But I don't think he can resist being the one to at least intro it.
Are you talking about like live in Cupertino to the developers?
Live on stage.
Yeah, I think so. He did it last time, right?
No,
did he not?
Well, no, not broadcast. I guess I should specify. He did appear live on stage last year, but that wasn't broadcast. It was like just to the people who were physically there. To clarify, I think this means that he will. They have like giant cameras in front of the stage at Apple Park. I think Tim Cook is going to appear on that stage, say hello, broadcast live, and then it will transition to a pre-recorded video.
Oh, See, I think that he's going to be the one that kicks off the event, whether it's live or on the video. I think it will be him, but I don't know if it necessarily has to be live. So, because that would add an additional element of, a technical element, having to jump from the live to the actual recorded video. It's like, why not just have him in the video? So actually, since you put it that way, I think I'm going to say no because I don't think he's going to be live. He's going to kick off the video, but he'll be in the video, not live. Alive, but not live.
Now I'm all confused and twisted up in knots. I'm just going to say yeah because I think no matter what, he's going to kick it off both ways.
They had all those. I was there last year. They had all those cameras there. They broadcast like the the Apple Design Awards live using the same system. I think they only had the entire keynote pre-recorded because they weren't sure if they were, going to have the event at Apple Park until like too late. They had to, with COVID and everything last year, they didn't want to take that big of a risk. Yeah. But I think this year, they're going to have him in front of a stage, in front of the crowd.
They
do love that
logic,
big crowd
man.
shot.
I think you might be right, but I'm not sure, so I'm sticking with my choice.
Even though this has never happened before, I'm saying yes for that.
Okay.
Last pick. A normal feature is introduced as AI powered.
Oh, they're gonna slather AI all over this thing. It's gonna be. I mean, even though they don't actually have any AI that is worthy to talk about, they're gonna be talking about AI left and right because it's the new hot thing, and they want to get as much press as possible. I'm a yes.
Yeah, that's I mean, there's been some speculation that they're doing like a chat bot or something, which I think is ridiculous. But I think they're going to definitely hype the fact that AI and machine learning is one of their core concepts, and they do it right. Right. Privacy centered and all that.
Yeah.
So
now, when I say a normal feature, I'm specifically like excluding stuff like chatbots or image generation. Not that I think
like
Apple
Siri.
will do that anyways.
I get what you're saying. You're saying it's going to be a marketing label only, is what you're saying, just to hype something.
Yeah,
up.
like every year they have like new features in the Photos app that, are just like glorified machine learning. But I think this will be an ordinary feature, kind of like in that vein, that they will just call as being AI powered, just because AI is like the keyword.
Like the Health app has new AI powered capabilities,
and it's like a year ago they would just call it new features, but now it's going to be new AI features.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they probably will.
What was your? Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm a yes for that. So I'm going to publish this with filled in votes on our table.
How long is it going to take for this to actually populate with our votes?
About like 90 seconds or so. But if you're listening to this after the fact, there's a link in the show notes and you can see a visual aid.
Subhead.
Oh yeah, I'll split that up too.
Oh man, don't make Lewis go get one of his freshly oiled horse crops. He's just dying to use that thing, and you live so far away. It's like who's he going to use it on? All right. Well, I'm refreshing. Nothing's happening.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Have we ever done anything like this?
No, I don't think so. But this is definitely fun.
Good idea, Griffin. I hope it's not
table
completely embarrassing.
One of us will be least embarrassed.
It'll be like the big HomePod update. It just won't happen. Like week after week. Yeah, we were all wrong on everything. It was like a huge failure rate.
It could be worse. It could have been like all those rumors about the updated Apple Watch, and then we got it, and it was like, oh, it's literally just the same except minor differences for the Apple Watch Series 8.
I'm glad. I like the rounded design. I'm glad it didn't have a square design. A square design would get caught on everything, like on a table or things, and then the corners would get bent and the screen would crack.
It really doesn't happen that often that it gets caught on.
Yeah,
stuff.
because it's rounded.
Well, no, because I have the Ultra.
I mean, it's sort of rounded.
Yeah, but the top is kind of like, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the top is not rounded. It has like that beveled top, which does get caught on stuff.
The John Prosser like square concept that would get caught on like every single doorknob and kitchen table in the world.
It was so diminutive, though. It's like it was, it's like not much space to actually get caught on. Anyway, so yeah, it could have been it could have been that where the entire thing was just completely wrong. I do think there's an interesting story there. Like, I hope one day that we figure out exactly what happened with that watch. Like, were they planning on releasing something, or was the whole thing just Apple? What it was like what happened to that last leaker analyst 941 or wherever, where they were just feeding them information that was just completely wrong so they could catch leakers internally and banish them to the dungeons of Steve Jobs Theater, from whence they never returned. All right, let me refresh this one more time, and if our picks aren't here, yeah, they're not here yet. So you know what that means, Lewis?
He's not using Squarespace.
It means you need to get yourself a subscription to Squarespace. But we can talk about that after the show. I got a discount code for you. Until then, though, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The fun continues on Twitter, at least for me and Lewis. I'm at Arifon ERF, and Lewis is at Lewis Walls. Just type Mastodon Griffin if you want to find Griffin on Mastodon. He'll be the top pick. He's the only one there. And we'll be back next week. I don't know if we'll do a special episode or not. I mean, the keynote is Monday, so I don't know if I can wait that long. But if we do a special episode, what are we going to talk about on Thursday? There'll be nothing left. It'll just be us regurgitating ourselves So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'll definitely be tweeting during the event. Let's see here. I completely forgot.
Website is updated now.
Oh, is it? Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Wow, look at that. All right. Fantastic. All right, well, yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and hanging out live. And we will see you guys next week for the next event. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, man. My mix was too far away. Couldn't reach it.
I'm printing this thing out right now, so I have a hard copy.
You know what? That's a great idea.
I don't want any, shenanigans.
Yeah. I like where your head's at, because Griffin has complete control over this website until our next episode. And how would we know? I'm going to run this thing through the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
I'm getting a snapshot of this, just so you know. Griffin, trust but verify. All right, everyone. Bye, y'all. That's a great